The FTX scandal keeps getting worse. Honestly, it's crazy. Every day, every hour, pretty much, some new ridiculous thing comes out or happens that's even crazier than the last. I thought I was done making videos about this whole thing about FTX, but no, I guess I'm not. I'm gonna have to keep making them. Hopefully, this will be the last one. I mean, honestly, I feel like Al Pacino in Godfather 3 when he says, "Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in."
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
So, anyways, I know with the stupid jokes, but we've got new stuff. The first being a article from the New York Times that came out today with an inside scoop. It looks like they actually talked to Sam and Caroline and were like on Zoom calls with the team and staff and wrote about it. Now, frankly, this is kind of a puff piece. They were extremely generous and nice with their coverage, which is pretty abnormal for the New York Times. Normally, the New York Times is pretty aggressive against crypto. You can see their Coinbase and Kraken coverage in the past. But in this case, they were pretty light and pretty nice. There could be reasons for this, but we're not gonna get into that. You can go down the conspiracy rabbit hole on Twitter if you're interested. But I wanted to go over some of the key points that are kind of insane, but also an admission of guilt in here. So we start at the top of the article. In the second paragraph, the article reads, "In a wide-ranging interview on Sunday that stretched past midnight, he sounded surprisingly calm. To quote Sam, 'You would have thought that I'd be getting no sleep right now. And instead, I'm getting some,' he said. 'It could be worse.'" Oh, it could be worse. Oh, you're sleeping just fine. Oh, that's good, Sam. That's what everybody cares about. I'm glad that you're sleeping just fine after stealing $10 billion. Let's continue. Skipping ahead here, it says, besides some Twitter posts, messages to employees, and occasional texts to reporters, Mr. Bankman-Fried, 30, has said little publicly over the last week. In the interview on Sunday, he voiced numerous regrets over the collapse of FTX. Oh, okay, good to know he has some regrets. And then if we keep going here, this is where it gets really interesting because he basically admits what happened. It reads, Alameda had accumulated a large margin position on FTX, essentially meaning it had borrowed funds from the exchange. Mr. Bankman-Fried said, quote, "It was substantially larger than I had thought it was," he said. And in fact, the downside risk was very significant. End quote. He said the size of the position was in the billions of dollars, but declined to provide further details. So what he's basically saying is that he was letting his own hedge fund trade on unlimited margin, meaning they could borrow as much money as they wanted without ever having to pay it back or getting margin called, as is commonly referred to. They just could borrow unlimited money and never get called on that money. And he said, oh, it became a multi-billion-dollar hole and I didn't realize it. That's not just negligent. That is criminal. That is fraudulent, right? If you didn't know it, maybe that's true. I fucking doubt it, but maybe that's true. Even if it is, that is still incredibly fraudulent that you are allowing them to borrow unlimited sums of money, which you know is coming at the cost of your customers. Moving further down, it says, Mr. Bankman-Fried did, however, agree with critics in the crypto community who said that he had expanded his business interests too quickly across a wide swath of the industry. He said his other commitments had led him to miss signs that FTX was running into trouble. Quote, "Had I been more concentrated on what I was doing, I would have been able to be more thorough," he said. "That would have allowed me to catch what was going on the risk side." Oh, okay, cool. You weren't thorough enough. I wasn't committing fraud, guys. I wasn't thorough enough to realize there was a multi-billion-dollar hole where our customer funds are supposed to be. And this next part is where it gets very questionable, the motives of the New York Times reporter on this case, because they frame it. I'm going to keep reading here. I'm going to skip a little ahead. When he was told that he was overextended and was encouraged to hire more employees, he resisted the suggestions. And in Washington, he was pushing an ambitious regulatory agenda while speaking critically about Changpeng Zhao, that's CZ Binance, the chief executive of the rival exchange Binance, who eventually mobilized his extensive Twitter following to set off the run on FTX. So they're basically pinning the blame on CZ mobilizing his extensive Twitter following. No. That's not how this works. That's like saying a guy was witnessing a murder and he called the cops. So it's his fault this happened, because if he didn't call the cops, no one would have ever known that the murder took place at all. That's how they're framing this? Okay, very good. Let's keep going. The article then goes on to actually admit the truth. The relationship between Alameda and FTX was the root of Mr. Bankman-Fried's downfall. He founded the trading firm in 2017 and rented offices in Berkeley, California, not far from where he had grown up as the son of Stanford law professors. Soon the company made millions of dollars exploiting inefficiencies in the Bitcoin market. And honestly, I even questioned that at this point. I've talked about the kimchi premium in a previous video. I don't even know. That could have been a lie too. Who knows at this point? Let's keep going. FTX and Alameda were closely linked. Alameda traded heavily on the FTX platform, meaning it sometimes benefited when FTX's customers lost money, a dynamic that critics called a conflict of interest. Yeah, you could say that. In the past, Mr. Bankman-Fried had defended the arrangement, saying Alameda provided crucial liquidity injections of capital that enabled customers to complete transactions on the exchange. Alameda was run by Miss Ellison, that's Caroline, but Mr. Bankman-Fried was also involved, contributing to the decision-making on big trades. A person familiar with the company's inner workings said, at times, there did not appear to be much of a firewall between the businesses. Alameda was supposed to operate out of a separate office, but a guest who visited FTX's complex in recent months said Miss Ellison had been sitting within a view of computers displaying the exchange's trading data. Yeah, I mean, obviously Alameda had full view of all of FTX's order books. This is extremely clear, and not just order books, I should add liquidation engine and pretty much any other information they would want or need to take positions against people trading on FTX. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead here. This next section talks about Caroline and Sam's romantic relationship and other personal relationships. You guys can read the full article if you want all that stuff. I just care more about the specific stuff that they were doing financially, not so much their interpersonal relationship stuff, but I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read it. So it reads, Miss Ellison explained what had caused the collapse. According to a person familiar with the matter, her voice shaking, she apologized and said that she had let the group down. Again, this is part of the very generous reporting from the New York Times here. I'm sure that might have happened, but let's not paint her as some innocent victim, okay? Keep going. Over the recent months, she said, Alameda had taken out loans and used money to make venture capital investments, among other expenditures. That means illiquid investments that they can't easily cash in on, which is probably not a very good idea if you're using loans that you have to pay back with cash in order to pay them off. They don't take shares or tokens. You need to pay them back in cash. And now this next part is where they basically admit full guilt. It says, around the time the crypto market crashed this spring, Miss Ellison explained lenders moved to recall those loans, the person familiar with the meeting said. But the funds that Alameda had spent were no longer easily available. Again, like I said, in illiquid investments. Not a very bright idea. So the company used FTX customer funds to make the payments. Besides her and Mr. Bankman-Fried, she said 2 other people knew about the arrangement, Mr. Singh and Mr. Wang. Those are 2 of the other co-founders of FTX. So full admission of guilt. Yeah, we had to pay back loans because we way overextended ourselves and we're going to go bankrupt on Alameda's side. So we took FTX customer monies to pay off those loans. Pure criminality, pure fraud right there. But it gets even better. The final couple paragraphs of this article are actually like astounding, okay? It's almost comedic, except it's probably more of a tragic comedy. The reporter asks Sam about prison time, and it says, in the interview, Mr. Bankman-Fried declined to discuss the prospect of prison time. Quote, people can say all the mean things about me they want online. He said, in the end, what's going to matter to me is what I've done and what I can do. I don't even know what that means. What you've done? You've defrauded billions of dollars and caused tons of people pain. That's what you've done. Oh, people are saying mean things to you on the internet? Oh, so sad. Oh, I feel so bad for you. And then the article also says, he has also found other ways to occupy his time in recent days, playing the video game Storybook Brawl. Though less than he usually does, he said. It helps me unwind a bit, he said. It clears my mind. Oh, it clears your mind? Is that what it does? Okay, I'm glad you're sleeping well at night, playing video games, just having a good old time while you face, hopefully, federal indictment. And then, best of all, it ends with the cryptic tweets Sam has been posting, which I'm going to get into in just a second, where the journalist asked, shortly before the interview, Mr. Bankman-Fried had posted a cryptic tweet, the word, what? Then he had tweeted the letter H. Asked to explain, Mr. Bankman-Fried said he had planned to post the letter A and then after the letter P. Quote, it's going to be more than one word, he said. I'm making it up as I go. So he was planning to make a series of cryptic tweets? Quote, something like that. But why? I don't know, he said. I'm improvising. I think it's time. What does that even mean? I think it's time? I'm improvising? I'm just fucking with people? I'm just posting random things as everybody's wondering what's going to happen? Will they ever get their money back? Well, there might be more to the tweet story. Let's get into that. So quick background, if you're not aware, like they referenced in the New York Times article, Sam yesterday started tweeting very cryptically. He started with the first word, what, and then writing a thread spelled out the word happened, and then just like an hour before I recorded this, said, not legal advice, not financial advice. This is all as I remember it, but my memory might be faulty in parts. So that's what this is referencing. But then some other Twitter users were wondering, starting with user Dior on Twitter, why is SBF deleting tweets and tweeting to offset his total tweet count? So you can see this person has a live time description of the tweet count, and you can see that within seconds of him tweeting one of the letters, he's also deleting another tweet. And then Eric Wall replied, maybe deleted tweet bots detection for rules requires count to be -1 for 1 minute or something in order to trigger. So basically saying, maybe Sam figured out a way that if he tweets something and deletes something at the same time, that these bots that are tracking when people delete tweets won't capture it because they're looking at the total number of tweets an account has. Well, it turns out that does work. And Eric followed up the tweet by saying just that, because other users started saying, hey, let's check the Telegram bots to see if it worked. And then Schreider on Twitter said is working, because you can see that the last deleted tweets for Sam were showing as a few days ago, when he has been deleting tweets actively in the last couple days. And you can see someone else here replied, oh shit, so the bot has actually missed the last 7 that he deleted because of this trick. And the answer was, yep. So Sam is being mischievous and fraudulent, as always, because it seems like that's all he does. And it's really disappointing. You know, he was He was an icon in the space. I mean, a lot of guys didn't like him. I personally had like mixed feelings about him. Obviously, I made a video a few weeks ago defending him on the regulation stance. I'm leaving that up, by the way. I'm not deleting that because, I said what I said. I don't disagree with the regulation stance just because he turned out to be a complete fraud. It's unfortunate. It really sucks that he is the one that has been representing crypto in DC and is now a complete fraud. So that's a disaster. But anyways, that's the latest on the FTX disaster. It's completely ridiculous. I don't want to make more videos on this. I like making videos about money, coins we can buy, trades we can make. That's what I like. But unfortunately, this has been the dominant narrative this week. So hopefully this will be the last Sam video I make. I have a new podcast coming out later this week, and I'll have more videos. I'm actually going to make an airdrop video so we can make money from airdrops. Forget all this crap. And if you missed out on any of the other Sam stuff, check my previous videos over the last few days. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.